For 60 years, every morning in Gaza, the same elderly woman walks to the same school. Wide hat, embroidered bag, hair the color of fire. Her name is Elham Farah, 84, a Baptist, Gaza's first music teacher. In November 2023, after weeks of sheltering inside a church with hundreds of Christians and Muslims, she steps outside to check on her home. She's shot in the street. She bleeds for 15 hours on a sidewalk, on the phone to her niece, until the line goes silent. And the next morning, according to her family and to witnesses on the scene, an Israeli tank rolls over her body. This is the story of Elham Farah, the music teacher who would not leave Gaza. Hi friends, welcome back to Mrs. O, Faithful Unto Death. I'm Nat, and if you're new here, this is the channel where we tell the true stories of the Christian martyrs who for the last 2,000 years have not loved their lives unto death. Most weeks on this channel, we tell the stories from centuries past, the Tudor martyrs, the Reformation fires, the early church. Today is different. Today's story unfolded just 2 years ago. This video is not about politics. It's not about who's right or wrong in a war that breaks every honest person's heart. It's about a single elderly Christian woman who taught music to Gazan children for 30 years, who would not leave her home, and who died in the way that so many civilians on every side of this conflict have died. Her name was Elham Farah, and this is her story. To set the scene for Elham's final days, we have to acknowledge the broader war, but only briefly. The details of the war are not subject to this video. On the 7th of October 2023, Hamas-led militants launched a surprise attack from Gaza into southern Israel, killing approximately 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and taking more than 250 hostages. It was the deadliest day for the Jews since the Second World War. Israel responded with a large military operation in Gaza, aiming to dismantle Hamas's infrastructure. The operation has caused significant civilian casualties, displacement, and destruction. The war has caused immense suffering on both sides. The Gaza Strip is a small Palestinian territory along the Mediterranean coast, about 365 square kilometers. At the time of the 7th of October attack, it was the home of approximately 2 million people. Gaza is one of the oldest inhabited regions with a history of 5,000 years, having been ruled by the Egyptians, the Philistines, the Romans, the Byzantines, the Ottomans, and the British. It is recognized internationally as part of the state of Palestine. It has been under a blockade by Israel and along its southern border by Egypt since 2007, when Hamas took control after a civil conflict with Fatah. Christians form a tiny minority in Gaza, fewer than 1,000, mostly living in Gaza City, the largest urban center in Palestine. By 2026, tens of thousands of Palestinians had been killed and many more injured, according to reported figures by Gaza health authorities and tracked by humanitarian agencies around the world. Elham's story unfolds in that broader context, but her story is her own. Gaza's Christian population is among the oldest in the world, but has dwindled to under 1,000 because of immigration, economic hardship, and conflict. Most belong to the Greek Orthodox Church, gathered at St. Porphyrius Church, one of the world's oldest churches. There are smaller Catholic and Protestant communities, with Catholics attending the Holy Family Parish in Gaza City, and a tiny Protestant community. The Gaza Baptist Church is the only Protestant church in the Gaza Strip. It's a small congregation and the central hub for the small Baptist community. It was founded in 1944 by the Southern Baptist missionaries. The first native-born Gazan pastor was Dr. Hannah Masad. He was born in Gaza in the early 1960s to a poor Greek Orthodox family. As a teenager, his aunt, Elaine Tracy, invited him to attend the Gaza Baptist Church. After that, he described his faith as energized and made a personal commitment to Christ. Shortly after his conversion, he felt the calling to become a pastor. He took the role from the missionaries in 1987, and under his leadership, the church opened the first public library in Gaza in 2006 and operated the Lighthouse School. In 2007, following the rise of Hamas and increased persecution, including the tragic kidnapping and murdering of one of his closest friends, Rami Ayad, he and his family were forced to leave Gaza. Dr. Hannah and his family first fled to Jordan. He is now a U.S. citizen living in Connecticut with his wife Suhad and their 2 daughters. He continues to support Gazan Christians and refugees. Christians are allowed to worship freely under Hamas rule, but they do face societal pressures as a minority. The Gaza Baptist Church, the Greek Orthodox, and the Catholic Holy Family Parish have all provided shelter to displaced Christians and Muslims during the war. The community has deep roots. Many can trace their ancestry to historic Arab Christian families. This is the Baptist church that Elham Farah called home. Imagine the echo of hymns in its humble sanctuary, the gentle clatter of pianos, keys mingling with the distant rumble of a city under siege, a stubborn melody of hope in the middle of the dark. Elham Farah was born around 1939 or 1940. There is some variation in reports. Several sources say she was born and raised in Gaza. Others note that she was born in Nazareth, the hometown of Jesus, to Gazan Christian parents who later settled in Gaza. She was raised and educated within Gaza's ancient Christian community. The Farah family is one of Gaza's oldest Christian families. Their origins trace back to the Gazanite Arabs, a Christian Arab dynasty allied with the Byzantine Empire. Prominent in the region between the 4th and 7th centuries, her family has long been known for its contributions to knowledge, literature, and culture in Gaza. Elham was the youngest daughter of the well-known Palestinian poet Hannah Farah. I tried to find some of his work to share with you, but unfortunately I couldn't find anything online. She had a loving childhood immersed in literacy and creativity. From a young age, she was passionate about music, skilled on various instruments, with the accordion as her standout favorite. She also played the piano, the organ, and the violin. Elham was adventurous as a girl. Her friends and family describe her as strong-willed. She was known for her fiery red hair, her wide hat, her big glasses, and her bags decorated with Palestinian embroidery, making her a beloved and recognizable sight as she walked along the streets of Gaza. She sounds like a me type of woman. I'm sure we would have been best friends. She graduated from Gaza's Teachers College, where she trained as a teacher with a specialization in music. Her musical talent was evident from an early age, and she loved to combine it with her father's poetic works, setting his poems to music and creating new songs to teach her students. Elham dedicated over 30 years to education as a music teacher in Gaza, including teaching at the Latin Patriarch School in the old part of Gaza City, a school run by the Catholic Patriarch of Jerusalem. She, as a Baptist, taught music to Catholic and Orthodox students, a small but beautiful detail. This is how tightly Gaza's Christian community holds together. She's widely credited as the first music teacher in the Gaza educational system, a pioneering role that left a lasting impact on generations of students. Every morning, she played the music for her students, making lessons engaging and rich. She refused to leave, even as many Christians immigrated after 2007. When permission was granted by the Israelis, she loved to travel to the West Bank to celebrate Christmas and Easter. Elham had a deep attachment to her home, her community, and her faith. Her family and friends described her as a godly, gregarious woman who sought to stay connected to others. Her life was one of quiet service, composing, playing, teaching, singing, bringing the beauty and the joy of the Lord to the Palestinians amid the harsh challenges they faced daily. In early November 2023, Elham was sheltering with hundreds of other displaced Christians and Muslims at the Holy Family Parish amid heavy Israeli military operations in northern Gaza. The church was among the few perceived safe havens in the area. Elham had hurriedly left her home in Al Ramal because of the bombardment. As she grew restless, she wanted to check on her house. She wanted to retrieve personal items, including winter clothing. After the church service on Sunday, the 12th of November 2023, Elham left the Holy Family compound despite warnings from fellow sheltered residents. She was driven part of the way towards her home in Al Ramal, but the driver stopped about 4 kilometers short of the destination because of the extreme danger and refused to proceed further. Elham got out of the vehicle and walked the final stretch. By 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Elham arrived near her apartment building when she was shot. According to her family and witnesses on the street, the shot came from a sniper. The shooter has never been identified by any official investigation. The Israeli Defense Forces have not publicly commented on her death. She immediately fell to the ground. She cried out for help. Eyewitnesses reported her saying, quote, "I can't feel my legs, I can't move," unquote. Neighbors and locals heard her yelling. They saw her lying on the side of the road. They attempted to reach her to provide aid, but they too were fired upon and forced to retreat. No one could help her. Elham began calling family members on her phone. She told them she was in severe pain. She explained to her niece Carol that she could no longer feel her leg and feared it had been amputated. Terrified, Caroline tried to assure her aunt that if it were amputated, she would have bled out by now. The sun was setting. Carol told her aunt to try rest her head. It was getting dark, and they would try to get someone to her. Elham replied, quote, "Okay, I just put my head on the sidewalk," unquote. The call ended. Carol called continuously until Elham stopped answering. She never heard her beautiful auntie's voice again. Carol posted urgent appeals on social media, including Elham's phone number, pleading for an ambulance, Red Cross assistance, or anyone who could help. Elham remained unattended on the cold pavement for more than 15 hours, continuing to suffer from blood loss and exposure to the cold. Emergency services and ambulances could not reach her because the area near Al-Shifa Hospital was under siege at the time. After the family failed to make contact with her, they came to the sad conclusion that she had likely passed away. She prayed on that final call with her family. She said, quote, "I am dying, pray for me," unquote. In her final hours, Psalm 23 comes to mind, the shepherd's psalm, "The valley of the shadow of death. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." Psalm 23:4. On the morning of the 13th of November, 2023, according to family members and witnesses on the scene, as Elham lay on the pavement, a tank ran over her body. Her death was described by those who loved her in these words, quote, "taking her last breath, reposing in the Lord," unquote, meaning resting in the Lord. Her great-nephew, the psychotherapist Elham Farah in Toronto, has publicly shared her story many times. He described his aunt as fiercely independent and emphasized her vibrant personality. The Latin Patriarch and the Gaza Baptist Church members confirmed that Elham had been sheltering at the Holy Family. They described the incident as part of the broader civilian losses among Christians during the war. They felt horrible that they could not leave to help for fear of sniper fire. In the aftermath, no formal public investigation into Elham Farah's death has been carried out. No inquiry, no statement, and no acknowledgement has been made in the case by official investigators. Neither the United Nations, nor the International Criminal Court, nor Human Rights Watch has launched a specific probe into her death. though all three continue to monitor civilian deaths in Gaza more broadly. Church leaders and Elham's family have publicly called for accountability as part of a wider appeal for civilian protection in Gaza. Elham Farah was not a martyr in the traditional sense. She was not dragged to the stake or executed for refusing to deny Christ. She was an 84-year-old music teacher who sowed joy where there was sorrow, the daughter of a poet, and a faithful Christian who simply wanted to check on her home. Even while sheltering in church, yet in the brutality of war, she suffered greatly for continuing to live openly as a follower of Jesus in a place where Christian already meant being part of a tiny, vulnerable minority, a community whose ancient witness in Gaza is slowly being extinguished. She bled for hours on a cold sidewalk, her voice growing faint, calling out to her family, clinging to faith in God's protection until her final breath. Her last reported words were a plea, trembling with hope and fear. "I'm dying. Pray for me." From Tyndale's Bible to the fires under Bloody Mary, to the Salem martyrs, and now to Elham's quiet endurance in Gaza, the cost of following Jesus has often been high, but her life, filled with music, teaching, and unwavering joy, shines as proof that beauty and resilience endure. Even in the heart of darkness, faith can be the song that survives the silence of war. And in the words of Revelation 21 verse 4, where is she now? "And God shall wipe away all the tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away." Elham Farah now rests in the presence of the one she served with every note she played. And that's the story of Elham Farah. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment down below. I read everyone. Thank you so much for watching. May dear Elham rest in peace, and may her music that has stopped on earth be played in heaven for an eternity. The light still shines in the darkness, and Jesus Christ still reigns. God bless. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will see you next week.